Are you a realtor that is constantly having missed boxes checked on the GA real estate forms or on the seller disclosure form in Georgia? Then this video is for you. I'm going to show you a trick to ensure the seller is making a selection on any of these forms. Let's get started. If this is your first time visiting my channel, thanks so much for stopping by. My name is Carrie Jonikis, and I am the proud owner and a transaction manager at Amplify Transaction Services. If you would like to learn more information about how we can help you, you can visit our website at www.amplifytransactions.com. Now let's head on over to the computer, and I'm going to show you a trick on how to ensure that your clients are making a selection on the GA real estate forms or on the property disclosure form in Georgia. Let's get started. The disclosure uploaded into DocuSign. I do prefer using DocuSign because it, in my opinion, it has the best features. Now, DocuSign is not paying me to do this video. I have, no affiliation with DocuSign. I just have used many different programs through my course of being a transaction manager, and DocuSign really is my favorite. It works very well with transaction managers, and it also is amazing for realtors. So if you're not using DocuSign, I highly recommend that you use it. So the first thing that you definitely need to know is, and this is the mistake that a lot of, not necessarily a mistake because obviously you can use these, but this is where the error comes in, and this is happening so many times, is that agents are using the check boxes, which is fine, except for if you make a field required in a checkbox, that would mean that the only option for them would be to select yes. We don't want them necessarily to select yes. We want them to select yes or no, correct? So we're going to use what we call a radio button. So we're going to take the radio button, which is on that left-hand panel menu. You're going to drag it over. And if you notice, it has two boxes, one on the top, one on the bottom. Now, you can leave it like that if that's where your selections fall, but you can also take and drag this to the next field. I always recommend that if you have more than one party that is signing a document, that you always go over to the right-hand side where it says collaboration and choose recipients can collaborate. What that means is that if Sally selects yes, then John Doe is going to also be able to see that Sally selected yes. If you don't choose recipients can collaborate, John might see nothing here and like no checkboxes or nothing because you don't have them being able to collaborate. Now there's other fields that you can, check. So say Sally chose yes, but John wants to choose no. If a change were to be done, you can have it selected that it requires an initial for that change. But for the most part, you should be able to just choose the recipients can collaborate. And the nice thing about this is if you have a lot of fields, like as you see as you go down, there's a lot of yes, no, you can, instead of having to take and drag every single time and then choose the collaboration, you can go ahead and choose these boxes by highlighting them. So you're going to take your mouse and left click and drags till you see the dotted lines around it, and then that highlights those fields in blue. And on your Windows computer, you're going to choose Control and C at the same time. If you're using a Mac, you're going to use Command and C. And then you're just going to click anywhere on the screen, and you'll click Control V on your Windows computer or Command V on your Mac. And then now that I've already done it once, I've already have that copied, so I can just hit Control V again or Command V again if I'm on a Mac, and just keep going down and filling in the fields that need a selection. And what this does is it's automatically, if you see here, it says that it's a required field. So they have to choose either yes or no. See, these fields are in a box together. So that's where they'll have to make a selection either yes or no within that field box. So if we had a checkbox there, it would just be one checkbox. And again, if you made it required, they would only be able to check wherever you put that box, which would be either yes or no. And you don't want them to, for sure, check yes. You want them to make that selection. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that I notice as a transaction manager, and that my team notices that often gets missed, is down under where it says items remaining in the property. The clients often miss checking boxes here. And again, this is where you're going to want to use those radio buttons. Now, of course, these radio buttons are quite large. So you'll have to position them in a specific way where, again, it can be done. It just takes a little bit more finagling of the documents, and you kind of have to really look to make sure that you are getting it within that box. But again, once you do, one line of them, you can copy and paste, which is really nice. It'll save you from having to do, more in the future. But this will make them have to make some sort of selection in this entire thing, which, of course, they're going to have at least one selection. Something to keep in mind, though, if you are making it required and you only do, for instance, these in one set, you'll want to make sure that that there's something in this selection box that they would have to do, because if you say required, they're going to have to choose one of these. Now, if you keep going, it won't make a difference, because you can keep going down. Now, of course, you can take and drag and do the whole thing all in one box if you want, or you could also just keep going down and do one row at a time. But again, you want to make sure if you're separating them and choosing a new set, so like meaning this, if I take and drag a new set and I start in this row in a new set, you want to make sure at least one of these they're going to be selecting, because you don't want to have it be a requirement that they have to make a selection when maybe there isn't a selection that they want to choose. So just keep that in mind when you are doing that. But again, you can absolutely do everything all in one, because when you finish, down here, then you can just move it up to the top and keep going. And then again, when you add a new one, you can always just keep moving the box bigger and bigger, and then move the selections as you go along. So this is going to really help you to ensure that the clients are making a selection where it is required. The other option, of course, is to have them fill this out in your presence when you are at their house doing their comparative market analysis. If they've then chosen to use you as their realtor, then that would be a great time in person to have them fill that out. And then that's making sure that, you guys know that these are the things that are going to be required. Agents that I have worked with, if they are doing this in person, they will walk through the house with the client, and that's when they're taking their notes about what is in the house. But then they're also at the same time having the client have the property disclosure in front of them, and as they go through each room, they are going through that with them as well. So they're in the kitchen and they're saying, okay, is the microwave staying? Is the oven staying? Is the range staying? Is the refrigerator staying? Do you have a garbage disposal? Those things. And then they're asking them to make those selections as they go along in the house. Time saving wise, that does save a lot of time, because you're there with them walking through the house, and it is actually ensuring that they are filling out the boxes that are applicable. Whereas when you are sending this after you have left the house and you're sending it via DocuSign, I don't know if you've ever received a electronic signature to have to sign or fill out something. The boxes, when you click on it, depending on what screen you're on, it can look really little and it can be actually hard to see, especially with these boxes being so little and them having to click on the screen. It might be more challenging for them to see on their screen to be able to make an accurate determination on what they're clicking. I've had it be very accurate with some clients, but other clients, maybe they said that they tried to click one button and it ended up clicking another. So I do think still doing it in the house with the client walking through each room is the better way to go to make sure that it is the most accurate. However, having electronic signatures is a very easy way to do it, just because you can set up a template. I will have another video that I will be doing in the future that goes over actually creating your template for this, and that way when you are doing this for the future, you would just basically put their name and email address in, and then it would automatically send it to them. However, again, like I said, I do really feel like it is most accurate if you are going through this personal property list with the clients as you walk through the house, when you're taking your notes about the items that are in the house, when you're trying to prepare the information to list the home in the multiple listing service. Well, there you have it. Now you know the trick to making sure that your clients are filling out a selection for each field that is required on your forms. If you would like to learn more tips and tricks, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.